Our round of applause should have been actually louder so that Prabhuji can hear in Banaras. The reason being that Suresh Prabhuji is always with us on all occasions, and with us meaning that with his thought, with his presence, and with his knowledge, and with his integrity to the cause of environment. Now we are into a very important session of this conference, which is a summation and brainstorming session. I'm going to request some of our chairmen and distinguished guests here to be on the panel here. So first, may I request Madharav Chitare ji to be on stage. After that, maybe Dr. V.K. Saraswat sir. I'll request Principal Pednekar to lead them on the stage, please. Arun Nanda ji, please, on the stage. Ashwin Bhai Shroff. Dr. Vate, please. And Vivek Pai, National Secretary, Vijnan Bharati. I will request Architect Rohit Shinkre to be here to present Vijnan Bharati's way forward after this conference, the learnings, the things which we propose to do, and thereafter this house will be open for question and answers. My request is going to be that please try to be brief. We have to close it by 3:45, or maybe we'll extend by some time. But let's give an opportunity to maximum respondents to have their say. Please mention your name and association while you ask your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhavji. I'll be very brief. I mean, I think all of us are keen to have an interaction with the eminent panel we have on the dais. We've had excellent sessions over the last 1.5 days. We had the introductory session and then the 4 thematic sessions. Obviously, these 4 themes are not insular, they are interrelated. But it is useful to kind of, it was useful to create these 4 different focuses so that we are able to talk about things with a certain focus. What has certainly transpired from these sessions is that cities are not a simple subject, that they are complex. There is a center for urban sciences in IIT, but I would think that the urban sciences is not an exact science. It's a complex science, which may be an impure science, if something like that can exist. So one thing we are sure of is that there are no clear answers. I mean, I was preparing my note. I just remembered a quote by Voltaire that says that keep the company of people who seek the truth, and shun the company of those who have found it. So I think talking about cities, that is certainly the mindset we should have. We should be open to new thinking, and we should always be open to questioning whatever knowledge which we already have. What we would like to do now to take, this conference would, I think this whole debate on smart cities, the good thing about it is at least it has started a certain interest in cities. I think there has not been enough debate on issues regarding our cities in our country. Not just in our country, I think all over the world, people certainly realize that cities are an important creation that we need to, they might not just, we can't just take them for granted. We have to plan for them, care for them, and prepare things so that they can flourish. So it was important that that debate continues. The idea we want to float is we would like to start not just, the question is not about just urban or rural. The question is about our habitat, the quality of our habitat. Smart cities is just one aspect of it. What we would like to do is create an idea of habitat labs all across India. We would like people to in different centers, Mumbai, Pune, all over India. I mean, Varanasi, cities all over India to start habitat labs, which would become like a place for debating and collecting information about various places. Because all cities are different. They have a different history. They have different possibilities. They have different climate. They have different languages. They have different festivals. They have different practices. So all that has to be somewhere taken into account when we talk about how those cities are going to grow, or what would be the roadmap for their future growth. So there is a complexity that needs to be captured, and it cannot be captured from in a kind of centralized structure. We need a very decentralized structure where. So the idea of these habitat labs would be to capture that complexity. It could be taken ahead through educational institutions, through public or semi-public associations, people's associations, and those labs would then allow us to have a certain profile, a certain understanding, a finer understanding of these various cities, and then maybe make sure that diversity and the specificities are known to us. The idea is just germinating. It'll be for all of us to take it ahead. And I would request all of you to kind of give it a thought and see how something like that can be implemented, can actually take place. There are also a lot of good things happening in our cities and towns. One of the roles of these labs would be to make sure that the good practices happening in one place are made known to all other places. I mean, there's an exhibition about, and there are some very nice initiatives which, being in Mumbai, sometimes you're not aware of. So you can imagine that some other cities elsewhere, and then there might be good initiatives elsewhere which we are not aware of. So one of the roles of these labs would also be that to document good practices, to document good ideas, and make sure that they are projected and made available to. It could be documentation of heritage. It could be documentation of cultural practices. It could be documentation of culinary things. I mean, whatever. I mean, I think cities really have many things for us to learn, and that would be the idea of these labs. So it's a very informal structure. It would be a structure that would take some time to shape up, but then I think once it does, it can really be a. So that's it. I mean, that was my there was our thought about how this can be taken ahead. We would like to get suggestions from all of you to actually see how these labs can get into action. Thank you very much. I think that we can leave the house open for interaction with Dias on the.
Ladies and gentlemen, just a small correction. I said it's Q&A session, so necessarily not Q&A session, because we were thinking that once you have been at a kind of receiving end from this particular part of the auditorium, it should be other way around, that we should have something from you. So the idea is that we get some concrete suggestions from you all with your name and association, as I said. And if at all, if there is anything which the panel here want to respond, so they are also part of the audience in a sense. So request is that please come up with your suggestions. As architect Shinkreswar said, we shall definitely document them and treasure them, so that this is what we want to act on in future. So it is important that the first question starts so that others will keep following, I hope. I think volunteers are ready with mic. So here comes the first one. Thank you. Yeah, very important is that, as we have been saying, please try to be brief. We want to cover major ground in next 15 minutes and only suggestions. Yeah, thank you. I've been prompted number of times, so suggestions only.
My name is Raghavan. About 2 decades back, USA has started collecting waste, kitchen waste separately, recyclable waste separately, and non-recyclable waste separately into 3 different categories. Not, I don't think of any Indian city which has started this. And I don't know which municipality will start this first and make it happen. Because if you do any landfill of plastics, I think that is non-biodegradable. It is going to be a big problem subsequently. Thank you.
Excuse me, I had been quite clear that we are not requesting any questions right now, because let's remember what Honorable Cabinet Minister told us, that we cannot leave everything to the government and other authorities. We have some stake, we have something to say. So let's have some concrete suggestions, those we shall document upon, things which we have already deliberated on. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Mahendra Vasandani. I happen to be an urban designer. I've been very impressed with the level of discussion at this conference. I've spoken at many of the smart city conferences, but the kind of detail the panelists have gone over here has been absolutely very impressive. Having said that, I would make the suggestion that the next round of deliberation should also include a discussion of urban design. In the context of Indian cities, we basically focus on urban planning. We need to go past urban planning. We need to get into the discussion of urban form. Through sustainable urban design principles, we can make a city smarter, much smarter than they are today. And based upon everything that I've heard so far, and even the point I make in my panel discussions at different conferences, let's approach smartness in India in this way: smart one and smart two. Smart one would be do basic things right, and then get into enabling and enhancing by technology, which would be smart two. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. This is a suggestion on financing, and one of the speakers yesterday talked about, he said when land is converted to from non-agricultural to agricultural, there's an increase in its value, considerable increase in its value, and he had suggested that it be a new tax probably be looked at, so that you can raise almost a trillion, $2 trillion all across the country by introducing this tax to finance these cities. So this is something that needs to be looked at and examined properly, because there's a huge amount of money that can be generated and trapped at the place where, when the conversion from agricultural to non-agricultural takes place, there's a huge amount of value there. So if there's this tax is introduced, we can get almost a trillion or $2 trillion to finance these cities.
Ajit Gulabchand said it. Say, for example, if you move the dairy need not be on the waterfront in Worli. The dairy can be anywhere. In fact, dairy should be. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Can I speak? Yeah. I am Kaustubh Dhargadkar. I'm a professor here at Wellinger. And we've been doing some research on energy. I mean, a lot of companies which manufacture electrical appliances consume electricity. And electricity, essentially today, 70% of electricity comes from coal, if I'm not mistaken. Probably more than 70%. So let's take an example of an electric vehicle. It's like, cleaning the city, but it's polluting the coal, the plant where, the region where the coal plant is generating electricity. So, in effect, we are not really reducing the carbon footprint. It's closing the mouth and breathing through the air, or closing the mouth and breathing through the nose. It's effectively like that. So, can some models be worked out? Say, for example, Mahindra Reva. Uh, Rather than trying to sell the vehicle in isolation as an electric vehicle, can Mahindra as a group not get into these micro renewable energy generating kind of solutions, which get uploaded to the smart grid and they get credits for charging the vehicle in cities? I mean, if some kind of an umbrella models like that could be developed and incentives could be given to such kinds of companies, there will be a lot of positive, what do you say, ownership from the private sector as well towards cleaning up the environment. We have smart grids, we have a lot of things. Let's take, say, nanos, for example. Everybody knows nanos are not really selling. Can nanos be coated with solar panels and given, not sold to rural youth, but given on lease, where these nanos could be just in the morning they are planted on hilltops, generates a lot of solar energy. They come down, upload that energy back into the grid. We can generate a lot of micro entrepreneurs with these kinds of models across the country. A lot of interesting financing models can be worked out. I mean, I don't see